Yeah, so what we like is the fact that when we think about most of the fintech plays that we see, they're vertically oriented around trying to provide consumer with new types of financial services. What's so fascinating about these buy now, pay later is that it's more of a horizontal play. The ability to kind of take the trend that Stripe started, obfuscating the complexity of all these financial intricacies, and then bringing them over to non-financial institutions. You know, you think about folks like Peloton, they can actually provide financial services now. And that has the ability to do three things. It has the ability to increase customer acquisition, the ability to increase the conversion rate, and then finally, the ability to increase the order value. And you know, this is something that folks like Affirm can do really well. In essence, they're creating a network effect with a web of merchants and being able to assess purchase behavior over time. From a consumer's perspective, they now have the ability to recognize a name like Affirm and know that, wow, I actually now am much more motivated to make this purchase, even a purchase that I might not normally make or that I might not be able to qualify for.
So, but if the average credit score is 740, then maybe it's not somebody who can't qualify. Maybe they're making a different kind of calculation or decision. And I keep asking Max Levchin, the CEO there, about loyalty and rewards. Is he going to move into that? It kind of sounds like he is. If he does that, is that a higher credit score customer who right now might be using a credit card for the points even more likely to lean into this space? And then what happens to the potential and the value?
Yeah, I think we've got two different personas here. So we have the persona, the Peloton user, more affluent, likely to have the higher credit score, willing to be able to do an installment plan as opposed to putting more on their credit card. So that's one persona. The other persona, I think, is a much more of a Gen Z, a younger person that may not have the same credit, but might not necessarily be a risk. It just may be because of where that person is within their life cycle. Now, back to your point about where a firm might go. Absolutely believe that there is an opportunity for firms like Affirm to be able to offer a much more loyalty type of model and also move into being able to increase, again, the ability for people that are buying on different websites for merchants to be able to say, hey, you know what, this is an Affirm type of transaction, or I'm going to go to this merchant because they use Affirm. So I think without question, we'll see folks like Affirm move into things that will be able to provide more loyalty because, look, they're able to see the purchasing behavior of all of their different customers across multiple sites. That's great information. It's a network effect that they'll be able to use to create a wide moat. We believe that $8 billion will be able to be created in additional purchases this year alone, and we see that tripling by 2023.
Hey, Lo, you know, in social media, for example, we've seen time and time again the giants sort of copy or imitate or steal from smaller upstarts, not put them out of business necessarily, but definitely just take a key from them. Why isn't that happening seemingly at the same level in fintech? Is that regulatory friction or caution among the legacy companies or something else?
Look, they're dinosaurs. They just move too slow. I think if we go all the way back to something that Bill Gates said, banks are dinosaurs, credit card companies move too slow. Do you know when he said that? He said that in 1994. The legacy financial institutions have had plenty of time to prepare, and yet they haven't. They're not really in a position to be able to move as quickly. I think another thing that really we should point out is that when you look at the banks and the credit card companies, you know, what do they typically use as their tools to evaluate risk? When it comes to consumers and providing credit, they're looking at FICO scores. This is where the startups have a significant advantage. I go back to Affirm. The network of merchants that they have allows them to use other signals to be able to identify whether or not there's a credit risk. And on the flip side, a consumer will not want to be late to make their installment payment or even miss it altogether, because then that information will transfer over to other merchants and then they won't be able to make any more installment payments.